I've just done bedtime, if you can't tell already. I want to not unbox something because clearly it was unboxed. Didn't even come in a box many years ago. And I'm just laughing to myself as I got ready for this, because the amount of people that are unboxing Gucci bags and glamorous, beautiful things. And the thing that I'm about to show you is my red dressing gown. And this red dressing gown, I'm not even going to say the year that it was purchased. It's well overdue. It's ready for an upgrade. But it reminds me, and I feel like I'll never get rid of it. It reminds me so much of the early days of parenting, even though in hindsight you look back on them going, oh, those blissful times, when in actual reality they're full on. You've no idea what you're doing. Every day you're seeing so many of the hours. But I had my son in 2015 and then my daughter in 2019. And literally, apart from professional working pictures, most of the pictures that I have of that time, I am wearing this dressing gown. And when I go back through the archives of my Instagram, I'm wearing this dressing gown. And when I look back, and I have done this recently when I've been updating websites and portfolios and all sorts of things, I've really gone back and looked at all the moments, all the things that I've done. I also, as part of some money work that I was doing as well, I looked at all my old bank accounts and not all my accounts, my statements, and really tuned in to when did I make the money, when did I not, when did I have great months, when did I not, really trying to understand this flow for myself, because I often believe that your data, your insight, your information is all in you right now. That's how you tap into where you need to go next. And I think so often there's this pressure of all the other gurus, or putting it all on like somebody else will tell me. And actually the reason that you're not moving forward, or the reason that things are happening, these are often patterns that repeat themselves, or circumstances. And there's loads of clues and loads of data. But the reason that I'm sharing this red dressing gown, and maybe one day I will share with you a Gucci bag, let's see, is because even though I was in this red dressing gown, even though when I look back on those videos and looked absolutely shattered beyond belief, like both of my babies didn't sleep through the night till they were 3.5. So it was many years, 7 in total, because there's 3 years, 10 months between my children. So more than 7 years, actually, because in those final weeks of pregnancy, you don't sleep. Anyway, nearly 8 years, a long time. But yet I was here in this red dressing gown, promoting my business, talking about what I was doing, gaining clients, making sales, growing, and doing things that my younger self not only would have been so delighted about and couldn't quite imagine that that would be a possibility, but secondly, would not have seen those preschool years as years where I was making moves and making shifts and making things happen. And that's not for everybody. Of course it isn't. You know, there are some people that for all kinds of reasons take a back seat, or they have an extended maternity leave or any kind of maternity leave. And in our circumstance, that just wasn't the case. It wasn't feasible, and we have always worked in partnership of doing that. So we both worked a bit, we both parented a lot. So when I think back to those days of the red dressing gown, it was all about unapologetically just showing up, having a chat, engaging, having a conversation, talking about the similar things, talking about how I was helping people, giving advice and tips and what's going on right now. Maybe you would like it as well. It was as simple as that. And I talk about this all the time because and I've got 25 years of data for this. all up here. No Excel spreadsheets, all up here. I've got 25 years of data for this about you never know who is watching, when something's going to happen, when that email's going to come out of the blue that's going to knock your socks off. And when you have that change in your career, the next chapter opens. And over the last 25 years, I've had so many twists and turns like that. And my aim, my intention right now is to simply be ready. And ready is not perfect. Ready is not having all of the ducks in the row, looking all all presentable and shiny and polished often. It's, are you going to show up and are you going to commit? Are you going to be in the room? And one of the biggest speaking gigs I've ever done, I booked when my daughter was 3 weeks old. I didn't do it until she was like 10 weeks old, and my mum came and it all worked, and it was a very kind of short commitment, so it all worked. And I ultimately had to move from one seat to another, so that was fine. My trousers didn't fit, so I just put a bubble on and they all worked themselves out. But there was, and I realise this now, there have been so many times where my imperfect contribution has been perfect for that situation. And I think back to like that day was with Nat West in Stylist magazine, and we were talking about money. And money is deeply emotional, money is deeply layered, money is complicated and complex and exciting and reassuring and all of the things. And when I said yes to that opportunity in my red dressing gown, I knew the person anyway who booked me for it, but I felt like I had to apologize almost, not because they put that on me, but I felt it personally, like, I've just had a baby, like 3 weeks ago. And the person on the other end of the phone was like, yes, I do know. So it's a question of how you feel about it and whether you'd be interested and whether it would work for you, because we can facilitate this and and it became the negotiation. And I think she knew in that moment that in that booking, I would bring that, there was some kind of like fresh postpartum emotions. And it really just reminded me that speaking, making changes, creating impact, inspiring people, it doesn't have to always come from a shiny, polished, completed place. And this is the thing that people assume. They think they've got to have a certain amount of followers before they show up. They think that they've got to have the perfect wardrobe or have a videographer following them around and then they're ready to present. And it's really just not the case, because all of those things come by doing the first bits, by showing up and going, hi, here's where we're going. Every day for the last 200 and something, I've shared this running progress that I've been doing. And in the beginning, I didn't share it. I didn't share it until about day 39, because my ego was like, don't share that. Like, it's only 15 minutes. Don't put that on the internet. Who's interested in that? Really? Come on now. It's not a marathon. It's not an Iron Woman. It's not a triathlon. You're not running in mud. You're not doing any of that. But yeah, I knew there was something in it. And I've always been this way with my own growth. And I think in order to be able to help others, you have to come from a place where you've navigated it as well. And I've always talked about this over the years, that I've very much been somebody that has challenged myself, that has got back up, that has had to be resilient and resourceful and raw and vulnerable and open and willing to I've gone through all of the process, all of it, over the last 25 years. And you know, there is that phrase that you have to be the one, you just have to cling on. And yes, that there is there's truth to that, but there's also those other moments as well where things are difficult, things are hard, and how do you navigate through those? And this pressure that we put on ourselves to be perfect and say, I've got these excellent numbers that I need to share with you. I want to share this fantastic win. Actually, it's about the day-to-day as well. It's about showing up and taking people on the journey. And there's so much to be gained by that. And my clients know that whenever we do one-on-one work, they will always be in that safe space, because I am always approaching the situation shoulder to shoulder with them. I'm not saying, I've worked it all out, so let me sit in a throne over here and let me tell you what you need to do. Like, never, 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 never. So if you are hiding, if you are holding back, if you are diluting yourself, if you are saying you don't really like visibility, so therefore you're not going to do it, and you're not getting the results that you want, or you're getting that niggle, I think there's more to this. I think there's more I can do. And it's like you're peeking over the fence. Come and do speak up with me. It's about really starting imperfectly. And even though the premise of it is to become a paid speaker, it's not just in terms of a big conference centre or, those ones where people lock you in a basement ballroom in Earl's Court for 3 days, and you just have to deal with the aircon. Either there's none and it's so stuffy and smelly in there, or it's on full blast and you're absolutely freezing. And even though it's June or July, by day 3, you're there in a sleeping bag because you're frozen. When I'm talking about paid speaking, it doesn't always have to look and feel like that. You might see those conferences on the internet and you'd be like, no, not for me. I don't want to high five a stranger, thanks. No, that's not the one. But launching a workshop from your living room that people phone into on Zoom, that you charge a really great daily rate for, yes. Some of my clients go, yes, that's what I would like to do. Being able to pitch and put something together and say, why don't we collaborate? Can we do something together? Could I come and be on your panel? Could you do a Q&A? Like that one that I did when my daughter was 10 weeks old. It was a couple of hours on a Saturday afternoon, and that was really lovely money at that time. I mean, at any time. But for the contribution and my life stage, life-changing, amazing, nervous system settling. So when I'm talking about Speak Up, please know that this is about building foundations of your communication. It's not saying, right, I've got to put my big Harvest Festival voice on and I've got to be out there and I've got to wear a shiny suit and I've got to do all of that. No, my friend. These are principles of your business, of your personal brand, how you show up. And one of the things that I'm always talking about with clients is the amount of possibilities, the places and the spaces where you can contribute, where you can add something. We're not in a 4-channel society anymore. There was always that thing when I was a kid of, well, it's the West End, it's a touring theatre, or getting something on one of the 4 channels. Entertainment and creativity, it's not like that anymore. There's so many things that you can do and share and create and build and be part of. And I love that, because not only are we reaching wider audiences and helping more people, we're also more creatively fulfilled. We also get that sense where we can go first. where we can say, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's create something. I remember years ago, about 2010, me and a group of actors, we put on our own show. We all took a producing role in it. We secured a venue in King's Cross, this amazing, mad venue, and we sold it out for 5 or 6 nights, I think it was. And it was amazing. We wrote it, we directed it, it was, life-changing. And knowing that you can do whatever your version of that is, whenever you like, without waiting for permission, is incredible. And there are so many versions of work from home or work flexibly around your kids. And I've been approached so many times over the years to join network marketing. And I've always said no, because it just has never felt like my bag. And I would really, if I was going to do that, have to be so on board with the company, the ethics, the ways of doing things. Otherwise, my heart just wouldn't be in it. And I've never found the one that I just think, oh my goodness, I'd love to do that. But working on myself and my offering and building an audience and communicating and talking in a red dressing gown has meant that I've always been able to grow that part of my business, to create content that has meant that people have just come to me and said, we would love to have you as part of this. And there's never been can you send a long pitch? Can you give us like these ideas? It's like, we'll book you and then we'll talk later. We'll book you and we'll pay 50% up front. Lovely. Great. Happy days. And that's what we're looking for in our ease and flow in our business, not this shiny, polished thing. And if you notice those places and spaces where everybody's really polished and shiny, it's all the same people. You come and do my summit, I'll do yours next week. Oh great, we're both speaking at that person 4 weeks on Friday. It's the same thing, talking about the same stories. And we know that we need to create stories, we need to share stories that are representative of your community, of who you are, of the information that you know people that you speak to or don't speak to, but you know are craving. And sometimes there is that realization that you have to be the first. And sometimes that's scary. Sometimes you want to ignore the call. Like, no, don't think it is me. What? Really? And it is you. It is you who needs to show up and talk about things in a different way. And I very quickly realised that when I left coaching school, that I was a lot younger than a lot of the other people. I had a different vibe. I had a different background. I wasn't coming from that corporate speak. And so instead of trying to fake it and pretend that I did and flatten out all my vowels, or sharpen them up rather. So I, spoke very nicely, which I can because I'm an actor, but that's not my natural way of speaking. I saw it as an opportunity to say, okay, so I don't quite fit into this category. What can I bring here? What can I add in? How can I contribute? And I haven't looked back. And I'm always open all these years later to reinventing and re-looking, like what do I want to create? And you have this possibility. Forget trying to fight with the algorithm. Forget trying to work out what's on trend or, what track should I use for my reels. Show up and be you. Show up and invite a conversation like I'm doing here. Create content and stick it on your website. Allow people to come into your world and explore who you are and what you do and what you're all about. That is incredibly powerful. Not only for your potential client who's looking, who's seeking out what you have to offer, but for you. That means that your business is growing whilst you are sleeping. And that, or doing whatever else you're doing. And that is such a sweet spot, because I've never wanted to stay on sales calls all day trying to convince people to buy something that they don't want to buy. Never, ever has that been my my game in the slightest. And actually, I don't like, my personality is that I don't want to convince people. I'm always like, will you let me know? Like, let me know if it works. Great. If it doesn't, no. This is the end of this chat. And I hope this has been useful. I hope you've got lots from it. And send me a message if you are ready. I have some spots on Speak Up. You can come and do the self-study course, or you can come and work with me one-on-one, and I can guide you and I can support you and grow this speaking arm of your portfolio career, and really see what's possible. We're in such an exciting moment. There are so many, as I mentioned, places and spaces that you can go. So if you want to find out more, come and check it out. It's in my shop, or send me a message. Let me know that you've seen this. There's 25% off at the moment, and that is ending very, very soon. So if you want to come and play, I would do it sooner rather than later, and we can get everything up and running for September, when people are booking again and getting things in for Christmas and the new year, and you're going to be ahead of the game. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Lots of love. I'll see you soon. Bye.